Hi everyone, Shadow Spurs here. I figured it was time that I showed my face, so you didn't think that this channel was purely AI generated. I get extraordinarily emotional about football, and sometimes I feel the need to put those thoughts into a more calm, controlled environment. And obviously, the AI tools of today allow me to do that. But I am a real human being. And I just wanted to address everything that's going on at the moment, the talk of new management, the talk of the problems within the team, the talk of the problems at the club. And I wanted to take maybe a slightly different approach and a slightly different viewpoint because the problems seem fairly obvious. But in fact, this really goes back a long way. And I wanted to explain my thoughts and feelings about it. They tell you that it's the hope that kills you, but that's a lie. Hope is just the anesthetic. What kills you is the pattern. We're sitting here in January 2026, another manager's on the brink, another reload is being whispered in the corridors of ENIC. The conversation is always the same. We need better defenders. We need a backup striker. The manager is too stubborn. What style of play are we playing? What is Thomas Frank's actual tactics? Because we can't see it on the pitch. We have to stop it. If you want to understand why we're here, staring at the ceiling of another lost season in January, you have to stop looking at the results, and we have to look at the soul of this institution. I'm not going to talk about tactics. Obviously, I could, or lack of tactics. I'm going to talk about the decade-long gentrification of Tottenham Hotspur and how we've traded glory for real estate and the effect that that's having on this football club. Historians of the football club will tell you that the end began probably Madrid 2019 after the Champions League final. But they're wrong. The end began, as many of us know, in the summer of 2018. We became the first club in Premier League history to sign 0 players in a summer transfer window. And why? Because the client changed. For 100 years, the client was the fan, the product was the football. But in 2018, the client became the bondholders, and the product became real estate. We didn't just fail to back Maurizio Pochettino. We committed an act of self-sabotage so profound that it's created this psychological ceiling. We told a squad of young, hungry players like Dele and Eric Dyer, Ericsson, of course Kane, Sonny, that good enough was the target. We turned to dare is to do into to build is to leverage. That summer broke the trust between the dugout and the boardroom. Everything that followed from that transfer window, the burnout, the painful rebuild that Poch was looking for and that he warned about, that was just the echo of that silence in the transfer market. Then came the panic. There was an identity crisis. Look at the whiplash. We went from this high-pressing romance of Pochettino to the pragmatic cynicism of Jose Mourinho. And then when the fans revolted against that, the boredom, the low block, we hired Nuno. When that failed, we hired Conte to win now. When the win now never happened, we pivoted to Ange for the vibes. We treated managers like commodities. Does this one make us look like winners? Does that one make us look like winners? The Ange era, we remember it fondly. Of course we do, because of Bilbao. The chaos, the high line. But deep down, we knew what was coming. We knew it was a glass cannon. We enjoyed the football because it distracted us from the truth. The club has and had no footballing infrastructure. We had no director of football who understood the true and real values of Tottenham Hotspur. We had a recruitment strategy that was buying value assets rather than system-specific necessities. We wasted 5 years trying to shortcut our way to a trophy with win-now managers, forgetting that a manager is only the pilot. If the plane's built by accountants, it doesn't matter if the pilot is Top Gun. The plane's not going to fly. So it brings us to Thomas Frank and that safe pair of hands that we're looking for post-Ange. The reports are coming out the dressing room this season that the players are ignoring the manager, the cliques, the apathy. This isn't about Frank. This is about a changing room that knows the secret. They know that at Tottenham Hotspur, the manager will be the fall guy. They know that if they wait long enough, the guy shouting on the touchline will be gone, but the people that sign their checks will still be there. We've created this culture of learned helplessness. The players don't believe. The fans don't believe. And the opposition, well, they know. They know they can come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the greatest stadium in the world, without doubt, and they treat it like a spa day. They enjoy the facilities. They admire the cheese room, and then they take 3 points and they leave. So, what's the conclusion? The only way out. What's this unique viewpoint that we need to have? Tottenham Hotspur is no longer a football club in the eyes of those that own it. It's a content house attached to a real estate portfolio. We mistake financial fair play sustainability for success. We mistake brand growth for glory. What needs to happen? It's not a new manager. It's not a new striker. We need an exorcism of the corporate soul that has gripped so tightly the very foundation of this football club, until we accept that the stadium was the trophy that ENIC wanted. The league title was what the fans want. We will remain in this state of paralysis. Those are two parallel lines that will never meet. It's been a decade of decay. The stadium is beautiful. The accounts are healthy, but the heart is still waiting for the transfer window in 2018 to end, and we learn that we've actually signed a player. I will be providing content like this over the coming weeks, months. If you enjoy it, please like, subscribe, comment. If you don't, I totally understand. Football and the emotions connected to it mean that many of us are looking for very, very different things. But one thing is true. As fans, we all have the very best interests of the club at heart. And right now, that's not in sync with what the ownership wants. And we need to delve deeper into that as we go forward, coupled with analysis of the actual games themselves, who we're signing, what we need, what we don't need. So I'll see you soon. This has been Shadow Spurs.